using the quadratic formula. So we could see here that A is equal to 3, B is equal to 10, and C is equal to negative 25. So we're just going to go ahead and plug all that into the formula. So we get that x is equal to negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 10 squared minus 4. Our A was 3 and our C was like negative 25. And this is going to be all over 2 times A, which was 3. Okay, so then we get x is equal to negative 10 plus or minus square root of 10 squared is 100. 2 negatives make a positive. If you have 4 25s, you have 100. And then times 3 is 300. This is all over 6. Then we get x is equal to negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 400 all over 6. Now the square root of 400 is like 4 times, right, is that perfect? Yeah, it's 20, right? So x is equal to negative 10 plus or minus square root of 400 is perfect, so it's 20 all over 6. So this is the point where you could do the LCD if you want. So let's go ahead and do that. Get negative 10 over 6 plus or minus 20 over 6, right? So we got x is equal to negative 10 over 6 is negative 5/3 plus or minus 20 over 6, that's like, is that 10/3? Okay, so now you have to account for the plus and minus, so here's where we get the two solutions. So we got x is equal to negative 5/3 plus the 10/3, and then we also got x is equal to negative 5/3 minus the 10/3. And we already have an LCD, so 10 minus 5 is 5, and negative 5 minus 10 is negative 15. And that still reduces. I didn't know these problems would be so long. Okay, so then we get that x is equal to 5/3. And we also get that x is equal to, this will reduce to negative 5. So these were the solutions I got to this example. Alrighty, so here's a third example. Notice it's not in standard form with 0 on one side and all the other stuff on the other side. So if it's not in standard form, you want to just go ahead and do that yourself already. So let's get this in standard form. And I just want to mention that you don't have to, but it's better if your leading term, the coefficient, is not negative. So I wouldn't want to subtract the x squared over right now. I would rather just move all this stuff on that side. So I'm working with a positive leading coefficient, so I run into less problems. So let's add the 4x and add the 1 over. So then we get x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 0. Now I can see what my a, b, and c are. A is equal to 1, b is equal to 4, and c is equal to 1. So let's plug it into that formula and see what happens. So you got x is equal to negative, b was 4, plus or minus the square root of 4 squared minus 4. Our a was 1, our c was 1. This is all over 2 times a, which was 1 again. So we get that x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus square root of 16 minus 4 all over 2. So then we get x is equal to negative 4 plus or 2. Now the square root of 12, negative 4 plus or minus, can be rewritten as 3 times 4. And that 4 is going to pop out as a 2. So then we get x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus 2 rad 3 all over 2. And now we could split up the LCD to get negative 4 over 2 plus or minus 2 rad 3 over 2. So then we come over here and we got a plus and a minus case. So we have x is equal to, well, negative 4 over 2 is just negative 2. So so this just comes down to negative 2, right? So then you got negative 2 plus that and negative 2 minus that. So negative 2 plus 2 rad 3 over 2. And then you got x is equal to negative 2 minus 2 rad 3 over 2. And notice these 2's just slice off like butter. So there goes that and that. So our solutions that we get are x is equal to negative 2 plus rad 3 and x is equal to negative 2 minus rad 3. So these are the solutions that I got. It's really not bad, just it's all just plugging in, so just make sure you don't make an algebra mistake. Alright, so I've done a couple examples, so why don't you guys go ahead and give this a shot. 2x squared plus 8x equals negative 3. Solve it using the quadratic formula, and then I'll go over it with you. So you need to have it in standard form first, 0 on one side, all the other stuff on the other. So I'm just going to add the 3 over as opposed to moving all that stuff on the other side. So I get 2x squared plus 8x plus 3 equals 0. So then I get that a is equal to 2, b is equal to 8, and c is equal to 3. So let's pop it in there. X is equal to negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4. What was our a? 2, and our c was 3. And this is all over 2 times our a, which was 2. So then we get x is equal to negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 64 minus 8 times 3 is 24. All over 4. Then we get negative 8 plus or minus square root of, that looks like 40. Looks like 40. So we're going to 40 it. Alright, so then you come over here and you got x is equal to negative 8. I know I'm not explaining much in these videos because it's just plug and chug. So you got negative 8 plus or minus. Now 40 again, some guy hiding in there. It's like 4 and 10. All over 4. So this is like negative 8 plus or minus. That 4 is going to come out as a 2. Alright, so here we have x is equal to negative 8. Now let's go ahead and split up the LCD at this point. Negative 8 over 4 plus or minus 2 rad 10 over 4. And then let's erase all this stuff. And let's get to work. So this will be 2. And this will, 2 goes into 4 2 times, right? So look like that, right? Negative 2. So we got x is equal to negative 2 plus, and and we also have that x is equal to negative 2 minus of rad 10 over 2. And you can't do much with this. So notice that we got an irrational solution here because of the square root. So that just meant that we couldn't have actually factored the original equation that I had written here earlier. So it wasn't a bad idea to use a quadratic formula on this one. Alright, so here's another example. So the first thing we're going to do is get it in standard form because we notice it's not in standard form. So I'm going to add this over as opposed to bringing the other stuff over. So then we get 2x squared minus 3x minus 10 equals 0. We can't divide to work with smaller numbers, so let's just seek out what our a, b, and c are. My a is 2, my b is negative 3, and my c is negative 10. So we're going to take all that and plug it into this massive formula. So then x is equal to negative, my b is a negative, so be careful with that, plus or minus the square root of, my b was a negative 3 squared, it was a negative 3, but I'm going to square it, minus 4, my a was like 2, and my c was negative 10, and this is all over 2 times my a, which was 2. Okay, so then we just simplify a little bit, get that x is equal to 2 negatives make a positive. So then we get a 9 out of that. 2 negatives make a positive. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 10 is 80. This is all over 4. So then you get x is equal to 3 plus or minus the square root of 89. Just the square root of 89. So then that's over 4. And so we're going to account for the plus and minus now. So we get that x is equal to 3 plus square root of 89 over 4. And we get that x is equal to 3 minus the square root of 89 all over 4. In some cases, this guy right here in the denominator will divide into this number, or if the square root has a number in front of it, so you'd want to simplify further, but in this case it doesn't, so I'm going to leave my answers like that.